We are meeting live with Chatufa on the show. And once again, family, you are welcome to this show. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for supporting the gospel of the freedom of the Zimbabwean people. We continue to look into issues after issues that are happening in our nation. As God continues to move, we are seeing God on the move. Indeed, God is in it. Welcome, Blue family. Welcome, change champions, intercessors who are praying for the peace, for the freedom, the liberation of the Zimbabwean people. And we are saying, continue to stand up and open your mouths and speak the word. Declare that the promise of God for this season is indeed going to come to pass. Nobody can stop the blue train. The blue train is on the move. And we are looking into different issues that are happening in the nation as we are in the season of the wind that is blowing towards the change that all Zimbabweans have been praying for, believing God for, are waiting for, and finally it has happened. Thank you so much. I'm seeing the blue hearts, they are flowing, they are coming up and up. Florence Love, Mildred Love, thank you so much. Woman Lo, I see blue hearts, siyabona civil. Right, we are looking into Songezo Tshabangu'S CCC faction writes to Mnangagwa government begging for political party fund release. This is the issue that we are looking into today. And it is very, very ironic what is happening. I think we are simply beginning to see the true colors of what these guys have been always when they started the onslaught on the opposition. We saw how Songezo just rose from some rock that he crawled from under, and he just started talking about him being the Secretary General of the Triple C, and how ZANU PF grabbed the opportunity, abused the opportunity, and started backing him with all that they have. And we saw him, all smiles as usual, while Zimbabwean people's hearts were broken into pieces. He was enjoying the ride on the shoulders of ZANU PF until we saw the dismembering of the opposition, to the point that the change champion had to come out of the mud and just left that defunct party. Of course, those that have been behind him, we saw them also coming out of their hiding places. Now, after that, we have experienced now divisions that are in the Triple C party, where now there are more factions than one, and each faction claiming that it is the de facto faction that has the power to control on whatever is happening in that party. It's just a circus. They are being exposed. We are seeing them failing even to take over the presidential seat, some having to start to share the presidential position, one having to be going for some few months, the other coming in. Just a sign that there are power-hungry people who have come together, who cannot accept to have one person in the seat of power and let the party move on. But, well, it is not a party. It is just a name that they are left with. But now it is not going to be happening. The previous week, or a few days ago, we have experienced a faction that has written a letter, and this letter was written to recall some members from parliament, members who were appointed by Songezo Tshabangu, and they are being recalled by a faction that is standing against Tshabangu. Tshabangu also having his own people that he appointed, and him appointing himself to be senator. You remember the day that he came out of the Senate and he was claiming to be the footsteps of the footprints of Joshua Nkomo. What a hogwash and nonsense that he was saying. And now he is very unfavorable, as we see that the factions are not accepting him. So we do not know what is really going to be happening, whether this party is going to succeed into going on for Congress until they shall elect the correct structures that they've always been crying for. And yet the structures have always been there. But we want to see how far they will go. Now we are looking at the issue that we have today, whereby Songezo Tshabangu'S faction has started, advancing towards grabbing the money for the political funding that ZANU PF has been withholding for a very long time. So we are yet to see who is going to be getting what, because everyone is claiming that they are the rightful people to be receiving that funding. So from the Newsday, we acknowledge them for their tweet here. Newsday Zimbabwe, they are saying Triple C Zimbabwe's self-imposed interim secretary general Songezo Tshabangu'S faction has written to the government requesting for the disbursement of a windfall due to the party under the Political Parties Finance Act. Right, this is what they've done. So the irony is, who is who now at this juncture? We don't know who is who. It looks like ZANU-PF is also having a soft spot for Jacob Mafume. And you remember Jacob Mafume never mentioned Songezo Tshabangu even at one go, even during those interviews where he was just speaking blah and blah, where he was just bluffing. We never heard him acknowledging Songezo Tshabangu. It means Mafume belongs to a different faction altogether. We also know the Promise Mkwanan's faction, with the Timber being also there leading. We also know of the Ngube faction and the other group that is from Bulawayo. So as we are watching the events happening, we are surprised why ZANU-PF would support the mayorship of Jacob Mafume if they are not behind the faction of Jacob Mafume, because we believe Jacob Mafume is under the BT faction. Because remember when BT and Ngube and Job Scala turned against Morgan Tsvangirai back then, they formed their own parties. And when BT formed the PDP party, Jacob Mafume went with Tendai BT, remember? So he has been a PDP person all along, and even Songezo Tshabangu was a PDP person. But we are surprised that at this juncture, it seems like they are not in the same boat when it comes to the factions that have rocked the Triple C party. So now, when ZANU-PF supported the mayorship of Mafume, everyone would think that ZANU-PF probably is supporting the BT faction, but it is yet to be known. For ZANU-PF now is no longer talkative. I think now that we don't know what ZANU-PF is thinking, because the verbal diarrhea-stricken Chris Muchangwa is no longer there. Otherwise, had Muchangwa been there, we could be really understanding the position of ZANU-PF in terms of which faction it is that they are recognizing. But we are still yet to see. We are still watching to see which is which as of now. But there is Tshabangu and his Triple C faction. They've written now to the government of Mnangagwa, and they are begging for that political fund to be released. And the big question is who is this money going to be released? Who is ZANU-PF backing? And for what reason would they back whoever that they are backing? And what about the other factions? Are we not going to be starting to see yet some other court cases where other factions shall be going to the courts to try to stop the funding from reaching whoever will be favorable with the ZANU-PF? We don't know, but that is a very, very likely situation that is going to happen, because every faction needs that money. And I think Tshabangu needs it more, because when we look deep into Tshabangu, this is what he was actually targeting from the day one. You remember, before even he went on, even with more recalls, at one point, he went to Harare and opened an account. You still remember the CBZ account that was opened in the Borodale CBZ branch in Harare? Songezo had to travel all the way to Harare to open that bank account. Of course, he was helped by ZANU-PF, because no bank would ever allow an individual to come and open a bank account on behalf of an entity or an organization without proper documentation and even minutes that are coming from meetings that have been held either by the board of directors or whoever, or maybe the National Council or something, and without even the signature of the existing president. Because remember, Songezo Tshabangu was acknowledging that Nelson Chamisa was the president. But how did Songezo Tshabangu manage to open the bank account with CBZ? The common sense will just tell us that CBZ, of course, is a bank controlled by ZANU-PF. Those are the ED Mnangagwas who are running those things. So they just told the manager to break the rules. Can you see how ZANU-PF breaks the rules? Breaking rules left, right, and center. And I can tell you, if people would follow up that issue, that manager can be in serious trouble, because banks are governed by international law. You don't do what you want because you say the bank is mine. There are international laws that govern the bank. So if he was asked by ZANU-PF to break the law and open that bank account for Songezo Tshabangu, that was a crime committed already. And that bank manager can be in serious trouble. And these are some of the things that we can still be able to raise again when the country becomes normal, when we see the country operating in normalcy, where the rule of law is in place, a proper government is in place, the courts are really for justice, and we see the police and all the other arms of government working in agreement and in respect of the constitution of the land. We can still raise such issues, and you can find people like that bank manager getting into serious trouble. And even the bank itself, it can be, delisted if they are found that they've been doing such practices, especially maybe with quite a number of people. So ZANU-PF is dangerous. ZANU-PF is an animal that just leads to death at the end of the day. And all those that are associating with ZANU-PF, I'm telling you, they are risking their lives, because a lot of things are going to be happening. The day that ZANU-PF falls, you remain on your own, you remain in the cold, no one will be there to defend you. You can put on your scarf, and that's when you will see that scarf does not frighten anybody. Wait until the day that Mnangagwa falls. You will know that the scarf is just a bunch of wool. It is just nothing, right? So this is the scenario. Our question is Songezo Tshabangu going to receive this money? Because it's quite a lot of money, I think, to the tune of, is it 2 or 3 million US dollars that is supposed to be given to whichever faction in this time. And it was not supposed to be a faction, by the way, because ZANU-PF thought that these guys were going to just unite and be one political party. They never anticipated that there was going to be war again after Songezo Tshabangu had done all the groundwork for these guys. But the guys came into action, and now we see divisions after divisions. And this is why we say God is on the move. God is making sure that there is no unity amongst those thieves and surrogates of ZANU-PF. When they did what they did, thinking that they are together and they are one, but they found themselves that they are far from being one. They started fighting even before the money was released. And I can tell you, this very money is one of the catalysts. I'm very, very much confident that it was the very catalyst that caused these divisions and fights, because there are some that are claiming that they want to get it, and while the others are saying they have to be getting it themselves. But for Songezo, it is very difficult for him, because the original group, you still remember that committee of his, which had people like Siso who came and he was just hallucinating on Ezra Chisa's show. You remember? Now they are no longer together. Those guys again in Bulawayo, there are now two groups, two divisions that are fighting. The other one is anti-Songezo. The other one is for Songezo. Already, you can tell that these guys, they did not even have a concrete thing that they really wanted to do. They were just pushed by the pressure that ZANU-PF was giving them, and some promises of some khaki envelopes that they were receiving, and some tickets and monies that they were given to go and sleep in hotels and things like that. And if they got anything more than that, then hallelujah. But I can tell you, when you can go and check most of those guys, you'll find that they never received anything of any great significance from ZANU-PF. Maybe Songezo, but the rest of those others, I'm telling you, you can find that their life is still where they've been, if not worse now, that they are very unfavorable. So this is what is happening in the nation. We want to know if Songezo Tshabangu is going to be given this money. Is ZANU-PF still supporting Tshabangu? And when Tshabangu gets this money, when we look at the scenario, you will see that Tshabangu does not have a president. That is the other issue. Tshabangu does not have a president. Remember, the only president who could be Tshabangu's president is likely to be Ncube. But unfortunately, Ncube, when he came on that interview, he said he wants to go and negotiate with Tshabangu, meaning that Tshabangu already is not part and parcel of Ncube's faction. Can you see what is happening here? So Tshabangu does not have a president, and he himself continues to declare himself the Secretary General, who does not have a president. You see, there is a president. Promising Collins at one point declared himself president, and then we have those other three presidents, and we don't know of any other president again for the Triple C party. And Songezo as of now, is not indicating who is his president, the way that he used to speak when he used to say Nelson Chamisa was his president. But as for now, we are not hearing him saying Karenyi Kore is my president, or Tendai Biti, or Welshman Ngube. But surprisingly, he wants to receive the money when he does not have a head. So it's just a form of structure which does not have a head. But that structure calls itself alive. It claims to be alive, and it wants to receive the monies. Then we have the structures that have the presidents, those that are in alternating. We still have doubts about Karenyi Kore because she's remained, mum about the whole idea. We don't know whether she really belongs there or not. When Mafume, who came as a spokesperson, remember, during Dara's show, was asked whether Karenyi Kore was really part of and parcel of that, he dodged the question. He ran away from the question. He tried, to hide behind the finger, just embarrassing himself in the process. So what are we saying, family? We are saying we want to see how ZANU-PF is going to behave, because if they continue with supporting Songezo Tshabangu, this time around, there's going to be even serious war, because the rest of the other people will turn against Songezo Tshabangu. They will turn against Tshabangu, definitely. If he receives this money when he does not have a president above him, who is he going to be sharing this money with? So Songezo is going to just be squandering this money, probably with those people that are right now have been recalled from parliament, because those are his guys. The other group from Bulawayo, they are not in agreement with him. The BTs and the other people are not in agreement. So if he takes the money for himself, he's going to be hated even worse by the rest of the other factions. And what is that going to cause? It is also likely to cause them to recall him again, because they are likely going to start writing letters again of recall, and recall him from that senatorial position, and recall him from whatever position of Secretary General probably that he's giving to himself. And ZANU-PF will have to come again and start to defend him and make enemies worse with BT, with Ngube, with Karenyi Kore, and the other factions. ZANU-PF is going to create enemies. And whatever now ZANU-PF would want to be helped with in the future, those other factions will not want to help ZANU-PF again, ahead of what they may want to do in terms of using the opposition to gain what they want to gain. Are you seeing where we are going? So we are yet to see, family. There's still a lot to happen. Great exposures are coming. We have seen nothing as of now. We are really going to be watching the space. More exciting things are about to be happening. Let's watch and see. Let's watch the space and see what is going to be happening in this defunct Triple C party. So all that we are saying is the Lord is on the move, and the blue train is moving, and we are not going back. You remember what Gift Ostalo Silva said on our last show? He said, watch out, Zimbabwe, very, very soon we are coming out to speak. Definitely, we are now awaiting a time that the change champion himself is coming out now to give direction and final information of the blue train. Let the blue train roll. Let the blue train carry the Zimbabwean people to their freedom. The time has come. The time is now. While confusion rocks ZANU-PF, divisions and fights rock ZANU-PF and the Triple C, we are seeing the blue movement coming together, beginning to implement its strategies and beginning to move forward. So we are not going to go back. We will continue to demand the freedom for the Zimbabwean people. Let Zimbabwe be free. ZANU-PF must just go. ZANU-PF must go, not tomorrow, not today, but yesterday. And we want to continue to declare and pray that the Lord's will for the Zimbabwean people must be fulfilled in this season, not in any other season again. The Lord has declared freedom for the Zimbabwean people as we, and as intercessors, as those that go on their knees, those that stand, those that roll on the ground calling the name of the Lord to deliver Zimbabwe out of the hands of the enemy and the sons of Lucifer. We know that every step and every day that comes, we are driving towards the freedom of the Zimbabwean people. God definitely is in it, and we will continue to pray and make sure that everything happens according to the will of God. God is in it, and God will never leave us, and God is never going to forsake us. He is God. He remains the Lord. He will fulfill his promises over the nation of Zimbabwe. Right. I just want to hear the comments from the family. what is the family saying? What are you saying, family, about the issue that is at hand today? Do you think Songezo is going to get the money? If he gets the money, how much fights is it going to cause in the Triple C party? And those other factions that are disgruntled by Songezo receiving money, are they still going to stand with ZANU-PF? Are they going to help ZANU-PF if ZANU-PF wants one united front of the opposition to continue to front its interests? Is it going to be happening, or there's going to be more division and ZANU-PF is going to remain with Songezo? Songezo does not have a lot. Does not have a lot. Even the people that he has remained with are just very, very few. And it is going to be interesting ahead. Yes, Gogo Mandazi, thank you very much for contributing. Says, good afternoon, Chatufa. Waiting to hear the story. Thank you very much, Gogo Chinembiri. Thank you for showing up on the show. Says, today I'm in time. Hello, the Chatufa family. Our God is good all the time. Indeed, God is good. Beauty Chero says, Tshabangu'S. Definitely, this one is a psychiatric patient. He needs really to go and be examined whether he is still fine, he is still okay, because it seems that a lot is happening in his head. Florence Ndlovu, thank you very much. My sister says, good afternoon, family. Tshabangu is the prodigal son of ZANU-PF. Is asking for his share. Yes, this is why the possibility of him receiving the money is very high, because he is indeed the prodigal son. My sister Hilda, how are you? Hilda Machoa says, good afternoon, my brother Chatufa in the Chatufa Blue family. Yes, afternoon to you too. We don't know what time it is there where you are, but where we are right now, this is 25 minutes to 3, and we don't know what time it is. You know, the world is funny. God has created wonders in the world where we have some people that are 6 hours before us, some 6 hours ahead, things like that. While we are awake, some people are asleep. While we go to work, some people will be getting in the blankets. Eva Bote says, good afternoon, brother Chatufa. Afternoon, my sister. I hope you are blessed and God is watching over you, and everything that is happening must favor you. Florence Love says, the same Tshabangu was saying, my president is leading a structureless party. Now he is in a party with no president. Exactly. This is what is happening. It's very funny. You know, when you are talking about other people, it's very easy to talk bad about other people or to criticize other people. When it comes to you now, when you are in that position, that's where you will see how difficult it is. It's now very difficult for him even to talk about structures in that party. He has since kept quiet about issues of the structures, because definitely something is happening that is beyond their own control. Mildred Ndlovu says, it's so interesting, big drama. As long as Chamisa is not involved in this mess, it's so interesting. Yes, Chamisa is already moved on, and we are actually waiting for him to come out and give direction as the new change champion of the new great Zimbabwe. Ndosaka ZANU yakatsamwa pakabuda Chamisa Musisi, vakaona kuti shiri yadzirika. Tshabangu asisina munhu waanoti president, saka anopuwa mari yacho ari ani. This is where it's surprising, but you know, with ZANU-PF all things are what are possible. ZANU-PF can do anything. You may be surprised that Tshabangu can still get that money. So this is why we are saying, let's watch and see what is going to be happening. Polite Love says, no money for imposter. Zim courts must work for people, not money. Yes, indeed, this is what is happening. It's pathetic that the Zimbabwean situation, we have people that are hungry for money, and everyone is just like looking for money from all corners, even if it involves selling out the struggle. And it's a sad scenario, sad situation. We need true politicians that will stand with the people of Zimbabwe. We need true politicians that are committed to the freedom of the Zimbabwean people. We need leaders that are God-fearing, who would understand that when they are put in positions, they are put in positions for the sake of saving the people of Zimbabwe, knowing that their time to save is also shall expire, and they have to give room for someone else to come and take over. That is the normal thing to do. Once a nation learns to do that, politicians learn to do that, and there's smooth transfer of power from political party to political party, or from member of parliament to the next member of parliament. If that happens as a culture in Zimbabwe, we will see prosperity in the nation. And that is what we are going to continue to push for, so that it happens in our nation. Otherwise, we will continue to see these kind of cracks and setbacks that we continue to see in our political environment. But God is in it. God is moving. God is bringing the normalcy that we want in our country. So let's continue to watch the space, and we continue to pray as intercessors. Let's not get tired. God is moving. God is on the move. And definitely our season for change has come. We shall see change coming in our midst. Thank you so much for joining me on the show, family. We are going to be meeting on our main channel, Chatufa Television Production, in the next hour or so. And we are going to be looking on yet another very interesting issue about ZANU-PF now bowing down to the pressure about Starlink, because even MPs of ZANU-PF are bitter about it. The issue of internet and Wi-Fi in Zimbabwe has become very, very hot in these beginning of this season, in fact. And it looks like ZANU-PF is now bowing down to the pressure, because even their own MPs, their own Varakashi, and all over, they are castigating Mnangagwa and Potras against blocking, especially Starlink, from coming into the country. So we're going to be talking about that in the next show. Be tuned, watch out for the time, and meet me there. Otherwise, as of now, I am signing out. Thank you for joining me. Remain blessed, remain praying for the nation. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Shalom.